Before we start with the what and the how, let's start with the why.
When you go out and you buy a rental property, you have to put 20% down payment. On a $300,000 house, that's $60,000. On top of that, you pay higher interest rates because rental properties are considered a little bit more risky. And it's also an asset that you have to pay taxes on. Depending on how long you own the property, will dictate how much taxes you have to pay.
Now, I'm going to contrast that with your primary residence purchase, which is just a normal house that you live in. So I'm going to explain those benefits compared to buying a rental property right out. Then I'm going to show you how to do it. And at the very end, I'm going to show you the difference of how much money you can make off the money you invested. And I'll show you the exact formula on how to figure that out.
When you buy a house and you move into it, you only have to put 5%, 3%, even 0% with down payment assistance. Banks and the government see primary residence loans as the safest loans, so you also get the best interest rates. You can also move out of a house, rent it out for 3 more years, letting it appreciate further, and then sell the property at 0 taxes. Now you have some flexibility here. If it's cash flowing great, you keep it. Then you have to pay taxes, but you have options.
Now the how, and this is why I love this plan, is because it's so easy. You just buy a house like you normally would. You're going to move into that house and live in that house. It's going to be your primary residence. It gets you out of the rat race. It gets you not paying other people's mortgage down for them. You're starting to build your own wealth. You're starting to create what's like a forced bank account. But it's really the next step that gets you going. See, once you've lived in that house for about 2 years, what you do is you then buy your next primary residence. Same benefits, same great interest rates, same low down payment. You move into that next house, and then the house that you moved out of, that becomes your rental.
You'll hear a lot of people, investors, whatnot, talk about formulas for return on investment. Return on investment is important, but more important is cash on cash return on investment. I'll show you those formulas here, but it's powerful because now you know what return you're getting on the actual cash that's coming out of your pocket. Now let's break down the numbers so you can see the difference side by side. On a rental property of $300,000, you'd have to put $60,000 down payment. That's 20%. Now that would remove your mortgage insurance, which would lower your payment. So let's say you make about $300 per month on that rental, subtracting all additional cost, timesing that by 12 months, giving you $3,600 for your profit for the year. You take that profit of $3,600, you divide it by how much cash you actually invested in the property of $60,000. We're not including your closing cost payments because a lot of times you can negotiate that, and we're trying to keep this simple. So that gives you a cash on cash return on investment of 6%. Now let's take the same property. Let's do the 5% down payment. That's $15,000 out of pocket. You're going to be paying a little bit more in mortgage insurance, but you're also going to be paying a lower interest rate. So let's say instead of $300, you're making $200 per month. Times that by 12 for the year. And that comes to $2,600 annually, subtracting all expenses. $2,600 divided by the $15,000 invested gets you almost triple a return of 17% cash on cash return on investment.
And this is why I really stress the primary residence way. The return on investment is really hard to beat. And it's easier because you don't have to come up with so much cash before you can become an investor. It's an easy way to get in the game and not have to wait until you have $60,000 plus other costs that could come up. Now, when you compare it to the rental property, I still buy rental properties and put 20% down. It's still a great return. And we're not even factoring in appreciation, rent rise every year, amortization, the renter paying down the principal loan for you, all these additional benefits, including tax benefits like depreciation. The list really goes on and on and on. This is just a very, very simple way to look at it, and why turning your principal residence into a rental is almost impossible to beat.